This week on the RV Podcast,
Beating the heat, protecting your RV from summer stress.
wildfires roar through 2 national parks, causing campground evacuations and destroying an iconic hotel.
The health dangers of wildfire smoke and why you should drive around it, not through it.
All this plus the RV news of the week and your questions coming up in episode 555 of the RV Podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Wendland. This is my lifelong traveling companion, my bride, and my co-pilot through life's up and downs, Jennifer. And we're back from a 2-week trip that was a shakedown cruise with our new motorhome that took us through 6 different states. Then it was a fun trip.
It was a fun trip, and it really is good to have those shakedown trips to figure out what you need and what you don't need and how everything works.
Yeah, we've got a lot of videos that we've been putting on this new motorhome and why we added a second RV to now we have a fleet. Our main RV, of course, is our Montana fifth wheel. That's what we use for our longer trips. This one is for more boondocking and maybe 2-lane travel. We did a lot of boondocking with this new one over the past week and had a great time with that. So we'll be sharing all those adventures and our experiences and any second doubts we may have about it in future YouTube videos. So stay with our YouTube channel.
Hey, maybe we can get a trailer and a tent and start a rental business.
We could do a third thing. Yes, we could. Speaking of YouTube, we are this close to 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. And if you haven't already subscribed, would you go over to youtube.com/RV Lifestyle and hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon, and then you'll be notified when we have new videos. We do 3 videos a week on YouTube. We'd love to have you as a subscriber if you're not already. All right, we want to jump right in to our RV conversation of the week. It has been really hot. The hottest I think we've ever seen this early in the season.
So today we're diving into a hot topic, literally. We're talking about how to keep your RV in top shape during scorching summer trips. We've had our fair share of sweaty adventures, so we're excited to share what we've learned about the systems that get stressed in hot weather and how to avoid those pesky problems.
Oh yeah, Jen, remember that time in Texas when it felt like we were camping on the sun? Our AC was working overtime and we learned some very hard lessons. So we want to break that down for our audience in this episode so you can stay cool and keep your RVs happy. Let's start with the air conditioning system.
Mike, you know how much we rely on that AC when it's 100 degrees outside. It's like the heart of the RV in summer, but it takes a beating.
Totally. The compressor and the fans are grinding away to keep us cool. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up with a broken AC or a tripped breaker. I remember when we didn't clean the filters on the AC regularly. Yep, rookie mistake. But the airflow got so bad it was like the AC was just blowing warm air.
So here's what we do now to keep it running smoothly. We set the AC to a reasonable temperature, like 75 or 80 degrees. And to avoid overworking it, we also clean those filters every month during summer trips. Trust me, it's a game changer.
And don't forget shade. Parking under trees or using reflective window shades makes a huge difference. We got these silver thermal curtains last year and we put them up even when our 2 RVs are sitting outside now and they're up now on that to keep the sun from beating in. It's like day and night inside the RV. And those thermal shields that you put in your windshield, particularly those of you with motorhomes, they really will help. Oh, and a surge protector, also a must. Saved us when the campground power got wonky one time in northern Michigan.
Get your AC serviced before the season starts. Check the refrigerant and clean the coils. It's worth the investment to avoid a sweaty breakdown.
Next up, the fridge. Jen, tell them about that time we thought we could just throw warm groceries in there and call it good.
Oh, Mike, that was a disaster. In hot weather, our RV fridge was struggling to keep up, and we ended up with some spoiled milk. Lesson learned? Pre-cool the fridge before loading it by turning it on the night before you leave for a trip. And when it comes time to pack the next day, don't pack it to the brim.
That's because ventilation is key to refrigeration efficiency. Give some space between items that you put in the fridge, especially at the back of the refrigerator. A lot of RVers add a small fan back there, and that helps the cooling unit breathe. And make sure that the exterior vents for the refrigerator are clear of dirt and bugs. Check them before each trip.
We also started using a portable cooler for drinks. It means fewer door openings, which keeps the fridge cooler. And if it's really hot, we crank the fridge setting up a notch.
It's important to know that when you open that door, you lose an incredible amount of cooling, even just for a couple seconds to get something out. So minimize in really hot weather how many times you open the door. If you have kids, don't let them open the door. Tell them you'll do it for them.
Speaking of kids, I remember being a kid and we didn't have AC and you'd kind of stand in front of the refrigerator.
That's what you used to get cool. We want to talk about the RV electrical system. Hot weather means, of course, you're running the AC and fans, maybe even a blender for an afternoon fruit smoothie. But all that power drain can easily overload your system.
We learned this the hard way when we kept tripping breakers at a campground in Maine. Now we use the surge protector every time we hook up. It saved our electronics more than once.
And the big drain appliances in an RV, the air conditioner, the microwave, convection oven, a hairdryer, a toaster, an air fryer, all those really suck the power. So when you run them, make sure you only use one of those things at a time. Also, if you have AGM batteries, the older batteries in your RV, keep an eye on them because heat can zap them very fast. And it's another reason we use lithium-ion batteries. They just handle the heat so much better.
Now, the water system. Hot weather makes you use more water for drinking and cooling off, but it can also mess with your tank. I was shocked to learn how fast bacteria can grow in a warm, freshwater tank.
A good tip is to empty your freshwater tank after every trip, particularly in the summertime. Don't let it sit in the heat for a couple of weeks between trips. Some RVers sanitize the tank before every big summer trip. When we sanitize ours, we prefer bleach-free sanitizers, but really a little bleach solution, a quarter cup per 15 gallons, say, isn't going to do any real harm. You just have to rinse it 2 or 3 times, really, to get rid of the bleach smell and taste. When we use those bleach-free sanitizers, even though they cost a little bit more money, the taste isn't quite so bad, and you don't have to keep emptying the tank to get rid of it. We also use a water filter for extra peace of mind.
And keep your hoses in the shade. We had one crack from sitting in the sun too long.
And really, it doesn't take a long time. A lot of people just leave them coiled up outside the RV, and in this kind of heat that we've experienced throughout much of the country over the past couple of weeks, that sun beating down on them, it can do real havoc to a water hose, particularly if you've been using it for a couple of seasons. All right, tires and suspension, they take a real hit in hot weather. And I'll never forget checking our tire pressure after a long drive on hot pavement, way higher than it should have been. I think we were someplace in Kentucky at that time. And having a tire pressure monitoring system for the RV is really a must-have convenience. If you're going to when you list up all the accessories that you really need to have, that is at the top of our recommendations. TPMS, Tire Pressure Monitoring System. You can get wireless ones now. The little valves, they stick on the valve of the tire, and a little wireless sensor sends a signal up to the monitor that you can keep on the dashboard. And that really helps to be able to know what the heat and the pressure is in those tires.
Always check tire pressure when they're cold, using the manufacturer's recommended PSI, which is on a sticker on every RV. And when out west or in places with strong, pervasive sun, a lot of RVers swear that tire covers are a lifesaver when parked for prolonged periods. They protect from UV damage. We also make sure we're not overloading the RV. Stay under the gross vehicle weight rating.
And the older your tires are, the more you got to pay attention to these things. Driving at moderate speed, which is hard to do on an interstate. Trust us, we know. It's hard to do, but that really helps if you can keep your speed 65 or under. It also helps your mileage, but it keeps the tires from heating up too much. Don't skip suspension checks. Grease those components and keep things smooth. At least once every year, you should lubricate your suspension system.
The roof and seals are another big one. The sun just bakes them. And before you know it, you've got cracks or leaks. We had a small leak once that turned into a big headache.
Now we inspect the roof of our fifth wheel before every summer season. A little UV-resistant sealant goes a long way. It's very easy to apply. We also clean the roof regularly. Some RVers install a reflective coating. They say that helps cut down on heat inside.
We had one RV service shop in Elkhart tell us those seals should be inspected and touched up every 2 or 3 months.
Batteries. We mentioned them a minute ago, but they're another thing that heat loves to mess with. And if you have an older RV with lead acid batteries, we used to have those. We lost charge so fast in the summertime.
Now, we tried to keep them in a shaded, ventilated spot and check the electrolyte levels regularly. Topping off with distilled water helped. But honestly, upgrading to lithium batteries was one of the best things that we did. They're way more tolerant to heat.
Last but not least, the awning and exterior components.
Our awning started fading after one hot summer, and we learned to retract it when we're not using it. Besides, summer storms can happen so fast, and it doesn't take much wind to shred an RV awning. The new motorhome we just bought doesn't even have an awning, and we're good with that. Awnings can be a real hassle.
Now, in the social media buzz segment coming up, Wendy's got some more awning tips that people were talking about in our various social media groups. But if you have and regularly use an awning on your RV, there's UV protectant spray that you can get. And that's something you should probably think about using. Regularly clean and check that awning for tears or mildew. Don't put it away wet. That's a big cause of mildew. And don't forget plastic fittings, decals on the side of your RV. Give them a quick spray and keep those from cracking.
So there you have it. Our hard-earned tips for keeping your RV in top shape during hot weather. It's all about preparation and staying proactive.
Totally. Shade, maintenance, a little TLC goes a long way. We hope these tips help you stay cool and enjoy your summer adventures.
Now, if you have your own hot weather RV stories or tips, share them with us in the comments below or drop us a message. We can all learn from each other.
Our email address is mikeandjen@rvlifestyle.com. Love to hear from you. All right. This part of the podcast is brought to you by Keystone RV's Montana line of quality fifth wheels. For Jennifer and me, our favorite state is Montana.
We love it for its rugged drama, the wilderness and adventure it offers. So when it came time to choose a fifth wheel, you can see why Keystone RV's Montana brand immediately caught our attention. For one thing, we know that Keystone brands are built by RVers for RVers. For another, our Montana high country equipped with solar and lithium is as rugged as the state it's named after.
Our Montana gets us out there amongst the drama of Montana mountains, close to Glacier and Yellowstone National Parks. It takes us right where we want to be. And we've traveled tens of thousands of miles in our Montana, from cross-country trips to winter campouts in the snow. It's never let us down.
And as comfortable as my favorite hiking shoes, whether in a glamping resort or as most often we're camping in the middle of nowhere.
Go to KeystoneRV.com. See for yourself. Their RVs, like our Montana, are built for where you want to be. All right, time now for the RV news of the week.
Our lead story this week is what has been happening out west. Wildfires caused by lightning strikes have forced mass evacuations at not just one, but 2 of our premier national parks. We're going to go in depth on this and the larger issue of wildfires, both in the U.S. and the massive forest fires that continue for the 3rd summer in a row to rage across parts of Canada.
And we're going to talk about the danger of wildfire smoke, even if you're driving through it in an RV or your tow vehicle. So let's start with what happened this last weekend. At Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park in Colorado, the South Rim fire exploded to more than 1,600 acres within 24 hours. And it was completely uncontained despite emergency crews deploying every available resource. Meanwhile, Arizona's Grand Canyon North Rim was devastated by a fast-moving fire.
The historic Grand Canyon Lodge was tragically destroyed. Built in 1937, it was the only hotel in the national park on the North Rim. About 50 to 80 other structures were also destroyed, including the Visitors Center, wastewater treatment plant, a gas station, an administration building, cabins, and employee housing.
There were actually two wildfires affecting the North Rim. One of them, called the White Sage Fire, doubled in size Sunday, going from 20,000 acres to more than 40,000 in just 24 hours. Firefighters at the North Rim, hikers in the Inner Canyon, and nearby campers were evacuated over the weekend.
The park said along with the fire risk, they could possibly be exposed to chlorine gas after the treatment plant burned. Rafters on the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon also were told to bypass Phantom Ranch, which has a set of cabins and dormitories along the river.
The North Rim of the Grand Canyon is going to be closed now for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, in Colorado, that Black Canyon of the Gunnison Fire, it's burned 5.6 square miles, forced the evacuation of campgrounds and homes near the park, and it was one of several fires raging in western Colorado. All of them started by the same storm. Colorado's governor has issued a disaster declaration. And this has become a familiar story, seems year after year, in the American West.
As crews battled the flames, visitors saw their summer vacation plans disrupted, and local communities braced for economic impacts from the park closures. Park officials and firefighters responded quickly and effectively, clearing vegetation, treating structures with fire-resistant materials, and evacuating all visitors safely.
Now, thankfully, no injuries have been reported. However, this incident raises a persistent concern. Why do our parks continue to face these recurring fire threats despite ongoing hearings, increased budgets, discussions about forest management practices that seem to get entangled in politics and regulatory complexities rather than focusing on practical solutions?
Everyone acknowledges that wildfires pose a significant risk in the drought-prone high desert West, yet a concerning pattern emerges. Government agencies point to climate change and drought conditions, then shift attention to the next crisis where local communities and small businesses bear the economic consequences. Each summer, small towns near these parks prepare for vital tourist season revenue, only to face potential closures, evacuations, and the demanding cycle of rebuilding and recovering that threatens their economic survival.
Meanwhile, federal resources are overstretched, millions more in taxpayer funds directed towards emergency response, while things like forest thinning, controlled burns, and other established forest management practices frequently become delayed by lengthy environmental reviews and legal challenges. And the political dimensions of wildfire season are difficult to overlook. National Park Service, state firefighting agencies, and county sheriffs demonstrate a clear commitment and effectiveness during immediate crises. But as these fires have been slowly brought under control, critics are left questioning why these recurring issues persist. Why does it require a crisis to prompt action while forest management plans remain unimplemented and responsibility seems to shift between agencies?
And it's not just wildfires in the West drawing criticism. Wildfires in Canada have been totally out of control this summer, once again, as they have been for the past 2 years, sending sky-darkening plumes of smelly smoke into the upper Midwest of the United States. In southwest Michigan, where we currently are, there was an air quality alert issued this past weekend because of the smoke from the Canadian forest, with people sensitive to respiratory issues being warned to stay inside.
Canada has experienced widespread wildfire activity since the spring. Over 2,600 fires recorded to date, approximately 354 of those fires currently burning as we record this podcast. The Natural Resources National Wildland Fire Situation Report in Canada indicates that 105 of these active fires remain uncontrolled right now.
Canada's policy to let the fires burn out naturally, unless they pose a threat to populated areas, Most of the fires are in remote wilderness areas, and the smoke is so thick that it shows up on satellite images, drifting east and south into the U.S., affecting air quality in North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and even as far as the East Coast on some occasions.
It's become so bad that a half dozen U.S. members of Congress sent a letter to Canadian officials last week demanding better forest management in Canada, saying suffocating wildfire smoke is dangerous and makes it difficult to get outside. I'm going to quote from that letter. It said, "With all the technology that we have at our disposal, both in preventing and fighting wildfires, this worrisome trend can be reversed if proper action is taken."
That same statement, critics say, could apply to forest management in the U.S. Smoke hangs over much of the West, and we need to talk about the danger of that, as many RVers will be driving through areas affected by it. The biggest health threat from smoke is from fine particles. Experts warn that these microscopic particles can enter your RV or tow vehicles even when driving, and they can penetrate deep into your lungs. They can cause a range of health problems, from burning eyes and a runny nose to aggravating chronic heart and lung disease. Exposure to particle pollution has even been linked to premature death.
Have you ever driven through neighborhoods in your car during the fall when people are out burning leaves? Instantly, you know that you're doing so because you smell the smoke. But as you keep breathing it, you don't notice that smell quite so much. The smoke is still in the vehicle, but you have gotten used to it. And that's the same thing with wildfire smoke. Smoke particles permeate an RV just as much as they do in a car. If you drive long enough in those conditions, you may not notice it, but the wildfire smoke is still in the vehicle, and you are still breathing in those fine particulates.
It's impossible to be completely safe from breathing smoke from wildfires when it's all around you. And not all people will be severely affected, but prolonged exposure will eventually affect everyone to one degree or another. So be aware of air quality through the areas you are traveling. An excellent resource is airnow.gov, which lets you look up air quality by state, city, or zip code. It also has information on wildfire smoke.
All right. Now, on to more news this week. There is no relief for the RV industry as retail registrations continues to decline. Its year after year drop is not going away. RV Business reported that statistical surveys recorded 5.5% decrease in May of 25 compared to May of 24. The decreases in RV retail registrations are for every type of RV in the market: travel trailers, fifth wheels, Class A's, B's, C's, and more. And in the past, industry leaders have been blaming high interest rates for the steep sales slump.
We all know how important it is not to mix diesel and gasoline while filling your tank. We recently did a podcast on that here. But could you imagine the frustration if the gasoline station mixed them? That is exactly what happened at the Sam's Club gas station in St. Clairsville, Ohio, where a third-party supplier accidentally mixed fuels and numerous people unknowingly filled up, and then a short time later experienced serious engine trouble.
Out in the west at Glacier National Park, tourists were gathering to take a photo on the rocks above Avalanche Gorge at Glacier. And they had to be rescued after one of them slipped and two others trying to help also fell in. While one was able to grab onto a tree branch and hold on for help, a husband and wife were swept away. Other park visitors waded into the chest-high, ice-cold water, first pulling out the wife, who was submerged and unconscious, and then pulling out the husband, also submerged and unconscious. One of the rescuers, fortunately, was a doctor, the other a dentist, and each started CPR, and they told their incredible rescue story to a local TV station. But again, taking selfies, they can be really dangerous, especially when you're trying to get too close to those scenic shots.
And finally, as this episode of the podcast is being released on Wednesday, July 16th, you should know it is National Hot Dog Day. And to celebrate, Love's Travel Shops are providing a free hot dog to customers at select locations July 14th to the 18th. Customers need to redeem the deal on the Love's app. They'll receive a barcode to scan at checkout.
So there you go. Free hot dogs at Love's. I want to take a quick break. And are you tired of expensive campgrounds and crowded RV parks? What if I told you there's a way to discover amazing overnight stays across the US and Canada for just $49 a year? Actually, we could save you money on that. We're talking about a relatively new operation called RV Overnights. We checked out two of their sites last week, and we're really impressed by what we saw. In fact, we'll have a big YouTube video on our great time we spent in the middle of a bison pasture where we got to meet the bison and we camped out all by ourselves out there. RV Overnights. They connect you with incredible hosts at farms, wineries, breweries, unique roadside attractions. We felt so welcomed at that bison farm. They were just so nice.
They were so nice. And they aren't just parking spots, they're experiences. Many locations offer electric and water hookups, and you can often stay for multiple days. Picture yourself waking up in a vineyard in Napa, or parking beside a working farm in Montana, or discovering that quirky roadside museum you never even knew existed. These are real small business owners who genuinely love meeting fellow travelers and sharing their slice of America.
Planning your adventures so easy with the RV Overnights app or their desktop website. Just search for your route, book your stays, hit the road. And here's the best part. Our audience gets an exclusive 30% off their annual membership. You have to use the promo code RVLDEAL when you sign up. Don't miss out on this game-changing way to travel. Head to rvlifestyle.com/RV Overnights right now. And remember, use that promo code RVLDEAL to save 30%.
And now it's time for the social media buzz. Our own Wendy Boyer reports on the hot issues most talked about this past week on social media and our RV Lifestyle community group.
Hi, everybody. I have two posts to share with you today. The first one is from Barry, who had a quick tip for all you dog owners out there. Barry posted a picture in our RV Lifestyle Facebook group of his dog's collar, and attached to the collar was a piece of medical tape that had the campsite number written on it. He says he does it at each new campsite he visits just in case. Many people love this, said they were going to start doing the same thing, called it brilliant, and so I wanted to share it with you in case it could help someone. And then the second post is also from Facebook, and it was from Connie. And Connie had a most unfortunate thing happen to her with her awning. She wrote, "I'm just nauseous. Last night at about 11:45 during heavy rain, I heard a large boom and the camper shook. I thought a tree fell on it. Rainwater accumulated on the awning and it bent the arm and ripped the awning. There were no winds, just heavy rain. The forecast did not call for rain, so I didn't pull it in for the night. Luckily, my mom and I were able to get out of the camper this morning and assess the damage, and now we got to figure out how to temporarily get that awning back in so it can be moved." Poor Connie. How many people can relate to this? She got about 1,000 comments and so much sympathy. Many people wrote things like Jeff, who said, "This happens to the best of us. Ours broke from the weight of the rain, and then we could hear it slam the top of the trailer from the wind. This after my wife had asked me 3 times to put the awning in for the night, and I said it was fine, go back to sleep. I can tell you it was a tough I told you so morning, and my wife has a campfire story for life." So besides the sympathy, Connie did get some great tips on how to get that awning put away so she could drive off the campsite. And there were some great tips on how to prevent this from happening in the first place. And it's those 3 tips I'd like to share with you now. The first one, of course, is to bring the awning in every night. Weather, as we know, can change on a dime. So if you're going to sleep or if you're leaving your campsite for any amount of time, make sure you fold in that awning when you're not there to watch it. And number 2, lower one side. Many suggested lowering one side of the awning when you have it set up. It creates a natural slope, and should it happen to rain, the rain will have somewhere to go. And then the third tip was no saggy awnings. Connie had mentioned that she had noticed the awning was sagging a little bit last time she camped. Many said this is a big no-no. The moment you see the sag, you have to get it fixed or replaced because that sag is going to collect water and you're going to have some major problems. So those are 3 tips, 3 prevention tips, that is, and I hope it can help one of you. And that's it for me this week. I'm Wendy Boyer, and I'll see you either in our private RV Lifestyle community or Facebook group.
All right, Wendy, thank you so much. All right, right now we want to tell you about some RV property that's for sale in Tennessee and in Arizona. Now, a big trend is people buying their own RV land, not just a lot, an expensive RV park where your neighbor's 10 feet away, buying multi-acreage land that's your land and you can use it your way. I want to tell you about these two offerings that we know about and urge you to check it out yourself.
Kentucky Lake is one of the most visited sites in Tennessee. It's one of the biggest lakes east of the Mississippi and a great vacation spot, perfect for RVers. Tennessee Land and Lakes is launching a grand opening of new property at the lake. They're big properties that allow for RVs near Paris Landing State Park, right near the marina, golf courses, resorts, and a slew of other great attractions. It's one of the most popular parts of the lake where it's at its widest and a really beautiful spot. There are large acreage 5 to 29 acre sites in size designed for privacy at great prices for the area with dedicated private access to Kentucky Lake. It's an ideal setup for RVers. Prices start at $99,900 and they've got woods and fields and views, cottages, and more with electric and high-speed internet. You can get details and a video tour at rvlands.net. Visit rvlands.net to get started. It's pretty incredible.
We just heard about a land offering out west for RVers in Arizona. They're selling 5-acre RV ranches starting at only $49,900. It looks amazing. It is at high elevation, so you get cooler temperatures, big mountain views, juniper trees, and green grasses. And it is near everything: the Grand Canyon, Lake Havasu, Kingman, Flagstaff, and Sedona. It's a perfect place to have a home base to explore the West, and it is right off famous Route 66. It's called Greenwood Ranches, and this is the second and final section of the community. We met the sales manager, really nice guy. He bought a property for his RV, and he's building a container home on it. Check out their website for a video tour and showing availability. It's pretty incredible. Visit the website to get details and set up a showing, ArizonaRVland.net. That's ArizonaRVland.net.
Welcome back. Time now for the RV question of the week. And this one comes from
Michelle, who asked, for those of you that have ovens in your RVs, do your ovens cook evenly? I would like to use mine, but it seems to bake unevenly. Okay, RV ovens are often considered unreliable or wonky due to several design and operational challenges that differ from residential ovens. RV ovens are compact, which limits heat circulation. The heating elements, typically a single propane burner at the bottom, creates hot spots, leading to uneven cooking. Burned bottoms and raw tops are common complaints.
you have to rotate the pans frequently to compensate for that. And every time you open the door, you lose heat, making it harder to keep a consistent temperature.
Another thing, most RV ovens lack precise thermostats, and the temperature settings on the knobs are often inaccurate. You usually need an oven thermometer to gauge the actual temperature, which can vary significantly from the dial setting. On the oven in our fifth wheel, I usually have to set it to 400 degrees to achieve a 350 degree Fahrenheit setting. RV ovens are often built with lightweight, less durable materials to save weight and cost. Components like door hinges and igniters can fail easily. And I've read on social media of users reporting issues like doors not closing properly after leaning on them. As a result of all this, many RVers opt for convection microwave ovens, air fryers, or outdoor griddles, which are often more reliable and don't heat up the RV interior as much. Bottom line, for the reasons I just mentioned, it's been our experience and that of many others that RV ovens just aren't as reliable as residential ovens.
So that's why we don't bake stuff.
A lot of people,
I was looking for cookies. Now I know why we don't have cookies.
A lot of people take that oven space and they use it as storage. They don't get rid of that oven because resale values, but they just start storing stuff in the oven.
All right, you got a question? We would love to get it. Our private email is mikeandjen@rvlifestyle.com. And that's the podcast for this week. Wherever you are, stay cool and be safe.
Happy trails.